everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and I like to talk about books, and today I'm going to be talking about books that I haven't read yet, but I think when I read them, I'm really going to like them. So this is a new series that I am starting on my channel that is not original. Many other people have done this, so I'm definitely not the first person to do this, but I just wanted to get it going on my channel because I think it'll be really fun. I am going to be doing 5-star predictions, so anything that I have on my TBR that I think will be a 5-star read for me, I'm going to do 5 of those, and this will be side A of the episode, and then there will be a side B where I check in after I've read those books and let you know if they were 5 stars. We'll see how good I am at knowing myself and my reading taste, and it'll be fun. So the first book that I have is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. From what I know about this book, it is about this cafe and you can time travel through this cafe, but there are a couple of rules. The main one is you have to return before the coffee gets cold. And I know it follows a couple different people, and that's kind of all I know about it. I really haven't heard many people talk about this book. I don't even remember where I first heard about this book or what caused me to get it, but I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, that sounds like exactly the type of book that I would enjoy. I love time travel books, especially when they're executed well. I love moral, ethical kind of dilemmas going on, so time travel often comes with that because you have to like make choices. Yeah, I think this would be a really good book for me, and it's like a really gorgeous cover, which doesn't affect the rating at all, but does give me a clue that I think I really will like this book. The next is a new book that just came out. It is When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. So from what I know about this, it is being marketed as a thriller, and I know it's about gentrification, but I've seen a lot of people talking about it recently, and for the most part, a lot of people have really been loving this book, but some people are surprised that it's not as thrillery as it is marketed to be. I mean, on my copy, the word thriller is on here 2 separate times. It says a thriller, and then in the blurb it says psychological thriller. I don't think, from what I've heard, that it's going to be like your typical thriller, and I think knowing that going into this will help me enjoy it even more so. So I don't actually know a whole lot about what the plot of this is, so I'll take a look. It says it's Rear Window meets Get Out, so that sounds good. And basically it's in Brooklyn in a neighborhood. Our main character is Sydney. She meets a neighbor, Theo, and they become sort of like partners into diving into the history of their community, and there's tons of new neighbors popping in, condos coming up for sale signs, something about paranoia and fear. When does confidence become conspiracy? Where do people go when gentrification pushes them out? Can Sydney and Theo trust each other or themselves long enough to find out before they too disappear? So sounds pretty good. It's also from William Morrow, who typically is who is publishing the thrillers I enjoy the most, so that's another good sign. The next book is a bit of a wild card, and I'm honestly kind of surprised I picked it myself, but I just really do think I'm gonna like this. It's a graphic novel called Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki and Rosemary Valero O'Connell. A couple reasons why I think this is gonna be a 5-star. 1, award sticker, must be worth something. 2, title, sounds fantastic. 3, art style, looks beautiful. It is mostly black and white, pretty muted, with these highlights of this soft pink color throughout, which I just think looks really nice and has a cool aesthetic to it. In terms of like plot and premise, I don't really know much more beyond the title, that there's a character, Laura Dean, who keeps breaking up with their partner and must be pretty mercurial, and it sounds like that's gonna be a fun time to explore the dynamics of this relationship. I still am relatively new to graphic novels, so I don't even know if like a 5-star rating is a thing for me in graphic novels. I think I gave Sheets 5 stars when I read that. If I didn't, then I did. You know, it's like a 4 or 5 star. It was really good. Don't know how attainable a 5-star is going to be for me in graphic novels, but if there is going to be a 5-star graphic novel, I think this one could be it. Next, we have another new book that came out this year, and that is The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. I just read Station 11 last month for the first time. I know everybody loves that book. A lot of people say it's their favorite book ever, and I was just never interested in it in particular. I just never like took the time to explore it, and then I finally read it last month. It is not a 5-star for me. So it might be surprising that I put this on the 5-star rating. But I typically find that if I read a book from an author for the first time and it's like a high 3 or a high 4, when I read the next book that I do of theirs, that'll be like the 5-star because I've set my expectations correctly and I know what to get into. So I think knowing Emily St. John Mandel's style, I think I'm gonna be able to enjoy this more. So just looking at the blurb of this book, it is basically a story about these two different events going on. So it says it's an exhilarating novel set at the glittering intersection of two seemingly disparate events, a massive Ponzi scheme collapse and the mysterious disappearance of a woman from a ship at sea. Then it looks like we have several different characters thrown into the mix, several different storylines going on, and some kind of mysterious message written on the lobby of this place. It says, "Why don't you swallow broken glass?" So sounds very much like the same style that we saw in Station 11, where there's like multiple characters, timelines, events kind of coming together and you're figuring it out. Also just seeing that there's like a message that gets painted. That was like a big part of Station 11, was the message that was on their caravan, and like that really tied the whole novel together. So this definitely sounds like same kind of style, same kind of thing, and I think knowing what to expect, that I'm really going to enjoy this, because I really did enjoy Station 11. I was just not bored. I was just like, what's going on? Like, we're just dragging through, we're just like wandering about. And I think now knowing that I'm gonna really like this one. And last but not least, we have The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This is another book that has one of those stickers on the cover that just lets you know it's won some kind of award, so it must be something special. A couple reasons why this book made the list. 1, title. 2, cover. 3, sticker. I'm an easy person to please when it comes to finding books that I want to add to my TBR. But what really makes me think that I'm gonna really love this book is the actual synopsis of it. I actually have read that for once and know what I'm getting myself into with this one. But that was a while ago, so I'm still going to read it directly from the book so that I don't get it wrong. There is this town and they always leave a baby as an offering to this witch who lives in the forest so that she doesn't like terrorize their town. And the witch actually is really kind. But for some reason, I guess they just think that they have to sacrifice a child to her. But every time they do sacrifice a child to her, she takes them in and like makes sure they find a welcoming family to go be with and gives them starlight for their journey. That's like just part of what she does. She takes the babies in, gives them starlight, helps them find a happy home. I don't know why she doesn't just tell them like, hey guys, I don't need you to sacrifice a kid to me, but like, we'll figure that out, I guess. But one year they sacrificed this baby to her, and before she gives it away, she accidentally feeds it moonlight instead of starlight. So the girl who drank the moon, that gifts the child with a lot of magic, and so then she decides that she should raise that kid for herself since she messed up and like doesn't know what that girl's gonna end up like, I guess, and she wants to make sure she can like help her figure out her magic since she, you know, messed her up. And even if that alone were just like all I saw from here, I would already think that sounds like a 5-star story for me. But there's more. 13 years later, you get this time jump. You know, she's like been raised, they've been living together happily ever after. A guy from the town is determined to kill the witch to free his people from her. And so then you get into this moment of, you know, how's she gonna save the witch kind of thing. I don't always love coming of age stories, and I don't always expect for them to, you know, really blow me away. But what I do love is when magic collides with a young adult's life, and that is part of their coming of age, is like figuring out their magic and figuring out like who they are and their identity and like how to be a young teen to a grown-up. This just sounds like the perfect book. I don't think it's going to let me down. I really hope it doesn't. I've heard a lot of other people really enjoying this, and I just have the highest hopes for it, and I cannot wait to read it. So this is my stack of my first set of 5-star predictions. We have a pretty good mix here of literary fiction, some more young adult, magical, fantasy type stuff going on, a graphic novel, a thriller, and literary fiction, I would say, is what this one is as well. I don't typically expect to give a lot of thrillers 5 stars, even though I read thrillers the most. Most thrillers are like 3 or 4s for me. I read them more for entertainment value than, you know, it being the best book I've ever read. So that's why I only added 1 in this stack, and the most of the rest are more literary, kind of fantasy, you know, kind of all over the place. I feel pretty good about this stack. I think I'll at least have 2 5 stars out of this. I hope I get 5. I hope it's 5 stars. But I think if I can get at least 2 of these, then I've done a good job of knowing myself. So that's it for this video. Stay tuned for side B of this episode series whenever I do get around to reading all these books. I'm not going to like batch them all together. I think that would actually make me like them less. It's really hard for me to rate a bunch of books 5 stars in a row anyway, so I think that would really lower my odds if I just sat down and read all of these books as the next 5 things that I read. So I'm just gonna read them throughout, you know, my TBR, sprinkle them over the next month or two, and once I've read all of them, I will come back here and let you know what I rated them all, and we'll see how well I know my reading tastes. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!